Wonder Woman. She's one of the most important characters ever created. Period. Not just in DC Comics. Not just in comics, but in all the media. She's a symbol of hope, peace, love, and so many other things. She's a cornerstone of comics, and throughout her many decades of life, she's gone and done things that have inspired all. Though ironically, it took her forever to get into the live-action movie scene, where she can truly go and showcase her skills. But between her 2 solo movies and her crossovers with other films, she's proven just how epic she is. Allow us to show you the top 8 Bad A Wonder Woman scenes. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 8. Her animated adventures. Okay, we're gonna cheat a little bit for this one, because while it may have taken forever for her to get into movies, it's just as true that she went and had an incredible run in animated films, including being in a very recent DC Comics animated film where she was part of the Justice Society of America. The reason we bring up these movies is that in them, they don't have to worry about the constraints of stunts and CGI and such. They can arguably animate Wonder Woman to be 100% as epic as her comic self, with only time being the factor here. If you look at some of the most awesome fights, you'll see her taking on Ares and chopping off his head, or a personal favorite for many when she went and took on the female Furies of Apocalypse, and yet came out on top easily. While it may be the big screen movies, they are movies, and the animated films are always happy to showcase just how awesome Wonder Woman is. 7. The Amazon games. Does age affect when a person can be epic? Not when you're an Amazon, apparently. Because the opening scene of Wonder Woman 1984 decided to have some fun by showing a young Diana competing with her fellow Amazons in her own version of the Olympic Games. At first, you'd think this would be kind of an odd way to start the film, but in fact, it was a rather breathtaking display of how good and talented, godlike even, Diana was at a young age. She was able to go against Amazons that were much older and more experienced than her, and yet she almost beat them. A sign of things to come. 6. Diana vs. Doomsday. Batman v Superman will forever be the most divisive DC Comics film because you either loved it or you hate it. But the thing that everyone agrees upon is that when she arrived for the first time in her Wonder Woman armor to save Batman from Doomsday, and then her now legendary music hit, yeah, it was dope. In fact, you're probably hearing that music in your head right now, aren't you? This was the first taste of Wonder Woman in the DCEU, and it totally rocked. You saw her power, her ability, and her love for a good fight. It was at that moment that people craved a solo Wonder Woman movie, and they weren't disappointed when it arrived. 5. Wonder Woman v Steppenwolf. To be clear here, we're referencing her fights in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Mainly because the theatrical version of the film painted Diana in an insulting light, if we're playing it nice. But in the uncut version by Zack Snyder, we get to see a lot more of Wonder Woman in her true form, and it was awesome. Her fights with Steppenwolf were key parts of the film, and from her prelude music building up the action to her going toe-to-toe with Steppenwolf blow for blow, it was a thing to behold. But what really made it the most bad A is the fact that at the end of the movie, it was Diana, not Superman or the others, who finished the job and killed Steppenwolf. Showing Darkseid in royal fashion, pun intended, that even gods can die. 4. Riding the lightning. Come on, do we really have to explain this? She rode freaking lightning in Wonder Woman 1984. She freaking lassoed lightning and rode it like it was nothing. Can Batman do that? Can Superman do that? No. Wonder Woman can do that. 3. Can I be like you one day? In both versions of Justice League, we see Diana go and stop a group of terrorists from blowing up a massive city area, and how she handled them is epic in its own right. But in Zack Snyder's Justice League, we see something more. Because after saving the people and killing every single terrorist, she goes and checks on everyone to see how they are. One girl doesn't get up though, and Diana speaks directly to her in order to see if she's alright. The girl asks if she can be like Diana one day, and she replies, "You can be anything you want to be." That right there is a dichotomy of Wonder Woman. One moment, she's the epic warrior princess who will do whatever it takes to save lives. But the next, she's the caretaker and inspiration for those around her. She wants to make the world a better place. And that wasn't the only time she said things like that. 2. You can only have the truth. Wonder Woman 1984 is a bit of divisive, strangely enough. We loved it for the record. But one of the reasons for its divisiveness was that it was trying to showcase just how much we need to hear the truth. And not just a popcorn film, like many other superhero films are. Both Marvel and DC does this for the record. And the biggest example of this is one of the key ending scenes. Maxwell Lord has used the Dreamstone to go and grant wishes all over the world, and it's imbued with him with incredible power. So much so Diana can't stop him, arguably at least. It's at that moment that a clear crossroads comes to pass. Because Diana, having just beaten Cheetah and almost killed her, could push through and try to kill Max Lord. Or she can try to reason with both of them and everyone he's influenced. And that's exactly what she does. Because using nothing but her lasso and the honest truth, she helps people understand that while we have wishes, we all have things we wish we could have with the snap of our fingers. It's not worth it if we destroy ourselves in the process. And that's what the Dreamstone did. It gave you what you wanted, but took away what you were as a result. Diana spoke to them not as a hero, but as a being of the world and the lover of the world. Gal Gadot sold the scene as she explains just how necessary the truth was, and how it can't be overridden by greed or lust for more. And it worked. Not only did she get everyone to believe her, she even swayed Maxwell Lord, a man obsessed with having more, to give it all up because he refused to lose his son to his madness. As a wise person once said, if you want to stop a missile, you send in Superman. If you want to catch a criminal, you send in Batman. But if you want to stop a war, you send in Wonder Woman. 1. No Man's Land. This scene. This was a scene that proved to the entire world why Wonder Woman should have got a live-action movie so long ago. Because it was this scene that was so epic, and so powerful, and so simple in its design that it dazzled people, and continues to do to this day. Let's set the scene, shall we? Now with Steve Trevor and his crew, Diana's trying to get a key point where they'll reach German lines. But along the way, they enter a trench area that is literally no man's land. The people of the town that are German are surrounded, are trapped, and can't get free. And as Steve tries to explain, they're trying to get at that town for years and they can't get through. That's why it's no man's land. And it's not what they do in terms of saving them. To which she shakes him off and goes, it may not be what you do, but it is what I do. She sheds her cloak and goes into no man's land with nothing but her armor, and her sword, and her shield. And she owns freaking everyone. She's blocking bullets with her gauntlets, to taking on a full force of a Gatling gun with her shield, to basically taking on an entire town's worth of soldiers. She does it all. Just as important though, she inspires the soldiers and Steve to follow her into battle to try and end the stalemate. With Steve and company even doing the Diana shield, moment to launch her to a building to deal with more enemies. The funny thing about that scene was that it was almost cut. But Patty Jenkins knew that this was Diane's coming out moment, and honestly, it changed the whole feeling of the film, because up to that point, we had barely seen the warrior that is Wonder Woman. But after that, no one could deny who she was. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the times when Wonder Woman showed how incredible she was both in battle and beyond? Were you amazed when you saw these scenes on the big screen or your TV screen? Which of them was your personal favorite? What are your hopes and expectations for Wonder Woman 3? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.